Sunday, July 11, 2021. I'm Lights Camera Jackson. Hi, everybody. Welcome to LCJ Live. Black Widow is your number one movie with $80 million. Now, I initially thought last week it was going to do somewhere in that $67 to $75 million range. Then, when the Thursday night gross was $13.2 million, and then the total was $39.5 million after Friday, so $26 million on Friday alone, I thought, all right, maybe this movie's going to make a run at 90. But Disney estimating exactly $80 million, and that number could end up being lower when the actual results are released tomorrow. If you want to send in your questions and your comments, I can read them here on LCJ Live. So the $80 million is sort of close to where I was initially thinking, but usually what all of us in the box office world do is we take the Friday gross, the actual Friday gross, about $26 million. We multiply that by 3, and then we add back in the Thursday night numbers to get what we will believe to be the opening weekend gross. If you do that for Black Widow, it would have been $91.2 million, but instead here we have exactly 80. So what happened? Well, I think the people who really wanted to see Black Widow came out in full force on Thursday night and on Friday. Half of the money comes from Thursday night and Friday. The other half comes from all day Saturday and all day today. Now, yes, that number could grow a little bit. It could get a little less. Disney has also released some of the numbers for the subscribers as of now, but it's only been on Disney Plus for 2 days, a little more than 2 days now. So we'll have to see, but I think $80 million, it's solid. It's only a little bit more than what Fast and Furious did a couple of weeks ago. Obviously less than a lot of what the other recent Marvel movies have opened to, but Disney's going to be happy with this $80 million bucks. What's interesting is that Cruella is up to $80.8 million, so even after the opening weekend of Black Widow as of today, Cruella is still the highest grossing Disney movie of the year so far, which I think is very interesting. If they really wanted Black Widow to be the biggest, they would have said an $81 million estimate, but they're going with 80, and we'll see where that brings us tomorrow. F9, The Fast Saga, another $10.9 million. It's at $141 million since it opened at the end of June. Boss Baby Family Business with 8.7, it's closing in on $35 million after 10 days. Now again, that's less than what even the first Boss Baby opened to, $50 million back in 2017, but it is already double what Spirit Untamed has done for Universal and DreamWorks, so I think those studios are already happy, but they would certainly like more money. Forever Purge, $6.7 million, it's at $28 million so far. A Quiet Place Part 2 with $3 million brings it over that $150 million mark, and as I posted earlier on Twitter at LCJ Reviews, $150 million for A Quiet Place Part 2 makes it the highest grossing Paramount movie in North America since the release of Mission Impossible Fallout, which earned $220 million back in the summer of 2018. So this movie, Quiet Place Part 2, has already grossed more than the rest of the 2018 movies from Paramount. Every Paramount movie released in 2019, and none of those movies earned more than $100 million. Rocketman was the top grossing movie. And Quiet Place Part 2 has now earned more than what Sonic the Hedgehog was able to do early in 2020 before the pandemic, close to 150, but it didn't quite get there. So congrats to Paramount and A Quiet Place Part 2 with the biggest movie in almost 3 years for the studio. Cruella with $2.2 million, as I mentioned, up to $80.8 million. Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, $1.6 million. It's at $35. Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway with $1.3 million. It's up to $37.7. The first Peter Rabbit movie, I believe, opened to about $25 million back in 2018. It earned $115 million total, so obviously $37.7, a huge decline from the $115 that the first Peter Rabbit made, but maybe families will catch up more with this on demand and on DVD as the weeks and months go on. Zola is at $3.5 million so far, waiting on a couple more movies to see what the Warner Brothers films did this weekend, including In the Heights and The Conjuring. But look, Warner Brothers next weekend has Space Jam: A New Legacy, which I have seen. And that's why I have Bugs Bunny and Tweety Bird and LeBron James here with me. The great folks at Warner Brothers were able to set up a screening for me the other night to see Space Jam and interview director Malcolm D. Lee. That brand new LCJ Q&A podcast episode where I talk with Malcolm D. Lee all about working with LeBron, animating the Looney Tunes characters, filming this movie, the production of this movie, the behind-the-scenes work, the voice casting of Zendaya as Lola Bunny, and bringing in all these Warner Brothers iconic characters for the basketball sequences. Malcolm D. Lee joins me for a new LCJ Q&A podcast episode. Look for that tomorrow. Also, a new podcast episode on Tuesday with Phil Weinstein. He's the executive producer of the new Mickey Mouse Funhouse animated series that premieres this Friday night on Disney Junior. So check that out. New LCJ Q&A for that on Tuesday. Bednar, what is your box office prediction for Space Jam? It's a tough call. How many people are going to watch this on HBO Max? How many LeBron fans are going to go? Basketball fans? How many kids? How many families? How many people who grew up with the Looney Tunes are really interested in this new Space Jam movie? So I think it could go either way. Could it do 40? Yes. Could it do in the mid-20s? Yes. It could really go either way. Could it beat Black Widow next weekend or lose to it? That's a flip of a coin as of this moment. We'll have to see. It depends. It really depends. We've seen with these family movie grosses that they've been okay, but not extraordinary. The extraordinary box office movies right now are all PG-13 live-action blockbuster movies. Godzilla vs. Kong, Quiet Place Part 2, F9 Fast Saga, Black Widow. The family movies, the animated movies, haven't been able to reach that status yet. Space Jam is a family movie. Could it exceed what the Croods did, almost $60 million? We'll have to see what it does. Bednar's thinking maybe it's like In the Heights, LeBron James too controversial like Lin-Manuel Miranda. Yeah, I mean, people have a love-hate relationship with LeBron. Some people love LeBron, some people hate LeBron. Could that force people to stay away? I mean, I have seen the movie. I cannot fully get into my opinions yet, but I will say this. There's a lot of LeBron in this movie. It is LeBron and the Looney Tunes. LeBron is not just a supporting character. He is the main person in this film. So we'll have to see how it does. I'm thinking somewhere in that mid-20s range, maybe a little more. It'll depend on if families really want to go. Also, with Hotel Transylvania not coming out next Friday, the 23rd, Warner Brothers really hoping that families take advantage of Space Jam. We will have to see. Movies 415, thanks for being here on LCJ Live. There are several other new movies opening this week. I've seen a few of them. One of them is Gunpowder Milkshake on Wednesday on Netflix. New action movie with Karen Gillan, Angela Bassett, Carla Gugino, Paul Giamatti. I'll have my thoughts on that later this week. Also, I have seen the new Anthony Bourdain movie, Roadrunner. Directed by Morgan Neville. He won an Oscar for 20 Feet from Stardom. Also directed Won't You Be My Neighbor, the Fred Rogers movie. Anthony Bourdain committed suicide on the day of the release of Won't You Be My Neighbor on June 8, 2018. Morgan Neville did a few projects in between the Fred Rogers film and this, but now we have this Anthony Bourdain movie, and I have seen it. I will have my rapid review of it tomorrow. Will his millions of fans, Anthony Bourdain, and the people who admire Morgan Neville's documentary films really go to the theaters starting Friday, actually Thursday night, to see Roadrunner? Will it get into the top 10 next weekend? I think it will, based on how the box office grosses have been. I think it will. How will it do? We will have to see. Also this week, Escape Room Tournament of Champions, the Sony sequel to the early 2019 Escape Room thriller. I was not a huge fan of the first Escape Room. How much money is this one going to make? Sony is opening this on Thursday at 3. They're really getting things started. Warner Brothers not doing any Thursday showings for Space Jam at all, which I think is a bit of a mistake. I think families may want to go to it on a Thursday night. It's the summertime. Most kids are out of school. I think anybody would want to take advantage of a Thursday night showing if they could, but maybe they just really want Friday, Saturday, Sunday grosses. So Escape Room opens at 3 on Thursday. And let's see, another new Animation Scoop Q&A later this week. I talked with Mark Guggenheim. He's the executive producer of the entire Troll Hunters franchise. And this new DreamWorks animated movie, Troll Hunters Rise of the Titans, debuts next Wednesday, July 21st on Netflix. This is the first ever DreamWorks animated feature film to debut on a streaming service. It's It's quite an honor. I talked with Mark Guggenheim about that, about the entire Tales of Arcadia saga and working with Guillermo del Toro and wanting to wrap up this franchise with this big movie. So that is an Animation Scoop Q&A you can look forward to later this week, probably on Friday. Did you go see Black Widow or did you watch it at home? Let me know here on LCJ Live. Send in your questions and your comments. We're almost to the middle of July already. And this week, of course, we have Space Jam, we have Escape Room, Roadrunner. Next week, a bunch of movies open up on the 23rd. One of them is not Hotel Transylvania 4, but I've seen a couple. I've seen Joe Bell and The Comeback Trail. Also, next week, we've got Val, the Val Kilmer movie, Old, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, and Snake Eyes, the new G.I. Joe movie with Henry Golding. Looking forward to seeing at least a few of those. So a lot to look forward to next week. And then July closes out with Jungle Cruise and The Green Knight and Stillwater on the 30th. Have we reached our peak now? I said a couple weeks ago when Fast and Furious opened up to 70 million, I said, you know, depending on Black Widow, depending on how many people watch it at home, instead, we may have reached our peak for the summer. Now, obviously, 80 million takes that higher, which is good. Not a ton higher, but a little bit. Have we now reached our peak? Will Suicide Squad, an R-rated movie from Warner Brothers, make more than $80 million on August 6th? I'm not so sure. We may have at this moment reached our peak for the summer. I could be wrong, but and we'll have to see. If that 80 million as well goes lower to that 75 range where I said the height was going to be, you know, maybe Disney will be a little disappointed. But look, the subscriber numbers for Black Widow were also very strong. The international gross for Black Widow very strong. What Disney is saying is that this movie has surpassed $215 million, Black Widow, between the box office and Disney Plus Premier Access. So if you look at the numbers, 80 million at the domestic box office, 78 million internationally, and over $60 million in Disney Plus Premier Access consumer spend globally. Now, they didn't break that down into, you know, what was North America and what was overseas, but $60 million this weekend they're estimating around the world for Disney Plus Premier Access for Black Widow, where everybody had to pay $30. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of people who decided to stay home. Another interesting thought, I was talking to somebody the other day who said they watched Boss Baby on Peacock and are looking forward to seeing Space Jam on HBO Max. A lot of families have all these streaming services. And so I guess they figure, you know what, even though we have the theaters, they're right here on the TV. And it's been raining a lot here in upstate New York every day except for yesterday, which was gorgeous. And so some people might be thinking, you know what, instead of going out in the rain and getting to an indoor theater or a drive-in theater, I'll just pop it up here on Peacock, or I'll just pop up Space Jam here on HBO Max when it starts Friday. It's really, really interesting to think about. But I still hope that the indoor theaters and the drive-in theaters are doing very well. Hopefully they've been doing well with Black Widow since Thursday night. If you're just joining us here on LCJ Live, Black Widow with 80 million bucks, and F9 in second place with about 11 million this weekend. Again, what's that 1-2 going to be next weekend? Is it Space Jam on top, or is it Black Widow on top again? How many Marvel diehard fans are going to wait and see Black Widow? How many people who are sort of on the fence going, well, I know what happened to Scarlett Johansson's character in the last Avengers movie. Do I really want to see this? How many people are going to say, yeah, I'm just going to pass? I like the first half-ish of Black Widow. Not really a fan of the second half. Are the reviews going to keep some people away? What about the reviews this week for Space Jam? I know some reviews have already come out in Australia because the movie's already opening in Australia. So a few reviews from there are already out, but I believe we're still embargoed here in North America for reviews for Space Jam. But if people are on the fence, depending on how the reviews are, will that dictate whether somebody says, yeah, I'll go see that, or they'll go see something else instead? A lot of drive-ins this weekend had Cruella paired with Black Widow, which will help Cruella earn even more money, and it's still pretty steady over these last several weeks. But some drive-ins, like the Hollywood here in upstate New York, had The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, pairing with Black Widow. Some drive-ins still have Boss Baby and Peter Rabbit for the families. A lot of drive-ins will probably get Space Jam this weekend if you're not a single screen. If you're a single screen drive-in, you are probably locked into Black Widow for 3 weeks and therefore can't get Space Jam. And then maybe you'll get Jungle Cruise again from Disney starting on the 30th. But if you're not a single screen drive-in, you may get Space Jam this weekend, and Warner Brothers may want to pair it with maybe In the Heights, even though it's very long and that'll make the evening long. That may be the pairing they go with because Godzilla's been in a lot of drive-ins already. The Conjuring's been in some drive-ins. Probably not Mortal Kombat at this point or the Angelina Jolie movie. Then they don't want to go too far back. I don't see Tom and Jerry being the second one, though I guess that could be a possibility. Tom and Jerry is going to be on regular HBO on Saturday, July 31st. Godzilla vs. Kong will be on regular HBO Saturday, August 21st at 9 o'clock. So if you do the math, March 31 to April 30, to May, to June, to July, to August, you're talking less than 5 months, right? April, May, June, July to August. Isn't that amazing that Godzilla vs. Kong will have gone from an opening day in theaters and on HBO Max to being on the regular HBO channel in prime time in less than 5 months? That's got to be some kind of record and is pretty unbelievable, but HBO will already be putting that movie on August 21st. So we'll see what Space Jam is paired with at drive-ins around the country. And then Old will be on the 23rd. Universal movie. Universal could pair that with more of Fast and Furious 9 or Forever Purge. Boss Baby, I guess, but they'll want Old to be the first movie. If Paramount Snake Eyes goes to a lot of drive-ins, I'm sure it'll be a Snake Eyes Quiet Place 2 double feature. That would make the most logical sense. So Quiet Place will earn even more money based off of that. And then when Jungle Cruise goes to drive-ins, Disney will probably want Black Widow to be the number 2 movie. So that is where we are at in the entertainment world. Again, LCJ Q&A podcast episodes new on Monday and Tuesday with the people behind the new Mickey Mouse Funhouse show and Space Jam: A New Legacy. Another new Animation Scoop Q&A on Friday. And I'm looking forward to talking with some people behind the Patrick Star Show on Nickelodeon, which I think the first episode is terrific. Looking forward to talking with them this week and more. So go to Twitter at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson. The website is lights-camera-jackson.com. My rapid review of Roadrunner, a film about Anthony Bourdain, is coming tomorrow. And next week, when we're here on LCJ Live on Sunday at noon Eastern, we'll talk about the Space Jam and Escape Room box office, see how all these movies do. We'll preview next week's new films, and we will preview San Diego Comic-Con at home, all the big entertainment panels, especially in the world of animation. I'll once again be covering them for animationscoop.com, and we have a lot to look forward to when it comes to that. So check back here next Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. For now, have a good week. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive, support your theaters. Get outside as well when the weather is nice and enjoy it. And I'll see you next Sunday. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.